Hey, it's Jag and Zeke, and we're drinking some Widow Jane 10-year bourbon. And this is interesting stuff because it's distilled in Kentucky and Tennessee and Indiana. And so they tout themselves as being expert blenders of bourbon that somebody else distilled. So, and they also use very, very special water to bring it down to the modest 91 proof that it is. They use mineral water, which is limestone mineral water, and from the Rosendale mines of New York State, which is where Widow Jane is from. They're from Brooklyn. Widow Jane.
So is that like a way? Because it seems like I've seen other stuff that makes a big deal out of their water. Like
Yeah.
that's like how to distinguish themselves when they use other people's distilled spirits, and
Yeah.
that's all they have to go on.
One of the ways depends on if sometimes they'll buy it aged, or sometimes they'll buy it and put it in barrels and age it themselves. So then they can kind of take credit for being in charge of the environment of the aging. And that makes a difference. See how they phrase it. You have to be careful because they're always so sneaky. Reviving the lost art of marrying the finest whiskeys, Widow Jane 10-year-old is our signature bourbon, hand assembled in Brooklyn using the richest and rarest straight bourbons, batched 5 barrels at a time, non-chill filtered, and proofed with our own mineral water from the legendary Rosendale mines of New York. We deliver a whiskey unique in its intensity and complexity. So it's hard to tell what they're actually doing. What's the word they used? Assembled.
Assembled.
They assembled it in Brooklyn.
And so, what is this 5 barrels at a time thing?
Yeah, so I guess in a typical bourbon, you could have many different hundreds of barrels and all blended together to make this batch. And the batch goes out, and it's kind of like the same batch for a year. And every year they make batches with hundreds of barrels at a time. Like most of your signature bourbons will do that. That's how they do it. So that's why when sometimes things are designated as a small batch, then it's not necessarily hundreds of barrels. It could be small is vague. It could be 50 or 10. But this is specifically saying it's just 5.
That's really small.
Yeah, very small. It's closer and closer to becoming a single barrel kind of situation. Um, so that's another little gimmick that they're using to stand out.
So I think of Widow Jane as a New York bourbon. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Or is it? Yeah.
It was assembled in Brooklyn, but happens to be distilled in different distilleries. So it says Kentucky, Tennessee, and Indiana. So Indiana is obviously MGP, where they can just buy these batches that NGP has made, or they can also, and it's not clear if they do, but they can order specific batches based on the percentages of grain. So they can say, I want a batch with 52% corn and 4% wheat, and etc. And then MGP will distill it for them and ship it, and then they assemble it. But then they can also, since it says Kentucky, they could like be buying Bardstown, or they could be buying Elijah Craig or any Kentucky bourbon. Buying
Like actual finished bourbon, or just
well, not finished but distilled, and stuff that that they weren't going to use. And Tennessee, and there's lots of different distilleries in Tennessee. It could be Jack Daniels in here, but it doesn't taste like Jack Daniels. But so it's an interesting craft that they've put together. And we've had before the Widow Jane Decadence, which is this stuff, probably not aged as long, but finished in maple syrup barrels. so it absorbs this really woody sweetness from the maple. Um, but this one's just a new American oak barrels, and it's just straight bourbon, not finished or anything, but blended in small batches. This is a $60 bottle.
I have a
But
question.
yes,
So bourbon's supposed to be in new barrels, right? New
yeah,
charred barrels. So if they did it in a maple
they finished it.
barrel, so
It was already bourbon, and then they put the bourbon
okay, so
in.
that's a second step.
Yeah, the first step has to be 2 or more years, depending on what kind of legal label you want to get. Like if you want to be bottled in bond, I think it has to be more than 4 or 6 years. I'm not sure, but regular bourbon, I think, can be as little as 2 or 4 years. And then they would take it out once it's bourbon and put it in. They're doing it with cognac barrels, and they do it with old wine barrels or tequila or beer barrels, and um, so they just happen to use maple syrup barrels.
But not this one.
Nope, this was straight out of the barrel with a bunch of limestone water added. And I was saying that this is $60 bottle MSRP, but out on the market you'll find it anywhere from there to $60 to $90. And I happen to get this for $80. So
That's good or bad? I mean,
I guess it's good, but not very good. So when I first tasted or experienced the Widow Jane 10-year, I was disappointed because I had at least 2 bottles of the Widow Jane Decadence before trying this. And this is such a different experience than that.
I know in the nose, that's what you call it, right?
Yeah.
I have to like look for it, I have to like really.
To look for anything?
Yeah, I mean, I smell it, but to like to identify things, I have to really think about it. There's definitely vanilla. A lot of vanilla. And oak.
Something
Something
brighty
else.
fruit, like a lemon? Little nail polish?
See the nail polish. It's like a spiced lemon, like a. Going in.
Fermented lemon. It starts out real spicy. Wow. The finish has kind of a buttery quality that I love. The finish reminds me of Weller Full Proof or Stag or something. Like a real Buffalo Trace high proof thing. Surprised to taste that. Are you getting that at all?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's fruit and wood. It's weird things. It's changing a lot. That lemon is kind of turning into ketchup. It's like a vinegar, sweet vinegar.
I'm still having a hard time identifying anything.
Well, while you chew on that, mm, I love the finish in this. I think it's the best part of it. I don't like drinking it, but I sure like after I've drank. um, I was just about to say something. Oh, because I have kind of a theory about blending. If you get too many different bourbons, you lose the personality of each bourbon. The more different kinds of personalities that go into the mix, the less specific anything's going to be. Um, so from like creating the infinity bottle, at first I was just pouring a bunch of stuff in it, and then it tasted so basic. So I'm just saying, they're getting bourbons from 3 different states and hand assembling it. Um, it could be causing that blend effect. You can't identify the flavor.
I'm kind of stuck on the lemon. I don't know, like this. Everything seems to have like this lemon wood core to it, and they're also like weird herbs like sage. Uh-oh.
That's the battery running out. No, we're fine. We're back.
Yay. I was wondering, like this. There was just that weird sort of like a hot toddy that I've had that somehow the flavors didn't come, and there was definitely lemon in it, and some herbs and spices and stuff. And there was like this, I think it was like star anise or something. It was like this dried star anise that was like a condiment on top of it.
Uh-huh.
And that's what this reminds me of. The chomping on some star anise in a lemony hot toddy.
Wow. There's a lot going on. Interesting.
Yeah.
Get that vanilla finally.
Yeah, there's a lot of like things that pop up.
Yeah.
There's not like a big
Obvious.
rounded yeah, there's something that this was missing, like a richness.
Is it the mouthfeel?
I think so. It's very
Watery.
Yeah, it's watery. It's a little bright and prickly without being. It's not smooth. I mean, it's not like as hot,
No.
but it's not like.
I think it needs more darkness.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Widow Jane 10-year is complex and has a lot of good things going on. But too much water. Too much limestone.
Too much.
Limestone mine water from Roseburg, New York.
Rosendale Mines.
Rosendale mine water. A little bit less than Rosendale mine water would be good. I mean, it might be a whole different experience at 100 proof or 110. Always makes me wonder, like, who decides, let's add so much water to this.
Well, you know how it was like, it lacks darkness, and I was saying it was like prickly, maybe like when it's higher proof. Maybe that's why they kept adding water, because it's like it didn't get that rich darkness, didn't get smooth at a higher proof, and so they were adding water to at least get it to something that
Drinkable.
Not that this is bad. It's good. It's just
It's
not,
drinkable.
It's just not.
It's not bad. It's better than average. I'd give it a B. $60, right? Not 80.
Yeah.
Don't pay $90 for this, unless you like water. I don't mean to be mean, but if you like prickly water,
Just being honest. Keeping it real.
I'm just trying to save you $60. Anyway, Widow Jane, they seem like nice people. But what I would say is if you're going to get some Widow Jane, get the Decadence. Because that's what they do really well. That is definitely a thumbs up, keeper, top shelf bourbon, where this is not. This is something I would drink if it was the only thing they had.
Might make a good it might make a good cocktail. Like if you added, Amaro, like a black Manhattan.
I never think in terms of cocktails.
Yeah, and a good cherry.
And go with the cherry on top. Yeah, then it would have some darkness.
Yeah.
Huh. Want to set this aside for some, what are they called? Black martinis?
A black Manhattan.
Black Manhattan.
Yeah.
All right, so hopefully that'll work. Anyway, in the meantime, we're going to continue pounding this Widow Jane 10-year-old bourbon while you have a nice day.